Hello everybody and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be looking at a band I've not heard of before, but there's a possibility I may have heard before without knowing it. We're going to be looking at a band called Gogol Bordello. Yes. Now I had to do a bit of research. I found a fair bit, and what I've got is Gogol Bordello is an American punk rock band from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. They formed in 1999 by musicians from all over the world and are known for theatrical stage shows and persistent touring. Much of the band's sound is inspired by gypsy music mixed with punk and dub, incorporating accordion, violin, and on some albums, saxophone. Now, I had this conversation with someone a little while ago about saxophone used in rock and metal, and we were trying to remember bands that did it, and I think we only came up with 3. But there you go. The band appeared in several popular films, most notably Everything is Illuminated in 2005, in which the lead singer Eugene Hutz co-starred with Elijah Wood. There you go. So there's a possibility I may have heard that there. The film was a dramedy adventure story about the Nazi purges in Ukraine. The group appears playing a brass band in a set that included the Star Spangled Banner and the traditional Yiddish song Bublitski. I hope I pronounced that right. Gogol Bordello contributed the song Start Wearing Purple, which is the song we're actually going to look at today, to the film's score. The band is the focus of the 2008 documentary Gogol Bordello Non-Stop, and the band recorded the song Let's Get Crazy for Coca-Cola's Euro 2012 advertising campaign. So there you go. So there are several occasions here where I may have actually heard the band without knowing it. But anyway, like I said, we're going to be looking at a track called Start Wearing Purple. This song was recommended to me a while ago now through YouTube comments. Now, as far as I know, there have been at least 3 different recorded versions of this. There's the version of their first album, then there's a version they did for Everything is Illuminated, and then there's a second version that they recorded, or there's another version that was recorded and put on their second album. So I'm hoping that all the lyrics are all going to be the same, because I've got some lyrics here. I did find a bit of information about this song as well, which will further explain what's going on. But we'll jump into the track now. I'm not quite sure what to expect here, but you know, they said it's inspired by gypsy music with punk, so this could be interesting. Let's have a look. So Start Wearing Purple by Gogol Bordello. I don't know why I said it like that.
I want to tell everybody a true story. Start wearing purple, wearing purple. Okay. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish, I promise. It's just a matter of time. So yeah, start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish, I promise. It's just a matter of time. I know you since you were at 20. I was 20 and thought that some years from now a purple little lady will be perfect for dirty old and useless clown. So yeah, start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish, I promise. It's just a matter of time. I know it all from Diogenes to the Foucault, from Ложечкин to Паспорту. И я клянусь, обоссав 2 пальца, что ты, а? Что музыка пошла от звука в мух. Start wearing purple, wearing purple. So why don't you start wearing purple? Why don't you start wearing purple? Start wearing purple for me now. Подадайте нам карету, вот эту, и мы поедем к ебеням. So yeah, I start wearing purple, wearing purple, start wearing purple for me now. All your vanity and wits, they will vanish, I promise. It's just a matter of time.
Well, there we go. Start Wearing Purple by Gogol Bordello. As I expected, that was incredibly silly. But there is actually some logic behind that song as well. The song seems to be talking about going crazy, sort of losing your mind. And there is a reason for this. And I found this whilst I was researching the band and looking for lyrics. And it says here that Eugene Hutz said in an interview, it's one of the very few songs I wrote for a girl. I had just moved in with my girlfriend in New York, and we had a neighbour, an old woman, who was always dressed in purple from head to toe. She was clearly bonkers. So whenever my girlfriend and I had an argument and she would start screaming at me, I would say, you might as well start wearing purple now. So insisting, she's gone crazy, so you might as well start wearing purple like the crazy old lady next door. So there's the logic behind why start wearing purple means going crazy, losing your mind. Now, the actual song itself, it sounded more like avant-garde rock metal to me. With that whole gypsy-inspired thing, it kind of reminded me in its own way a little bit like Tardigrade Inferno. These two bands would go very well together on a stage, I think. But let's look into the lyrics here, which I have here. And it starts off with, I want to tell everybody a true story. Start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanities and wits, they will all vanish. I promise it's just a matter of time. So yeah, start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. I promise it's just a matter of time. I know you since you were a 20. I was 20, and thought that some years from now, a purple little lady will be perfect for a dirty old and useless clown. So yeah, start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. I promise, it's just a matter of time. I know it all from Diogenes and Foucault, from Lozhekin to Passepartout. And then it does a bit in Russian. Now, this bit I'm going to break down, because so far it's been pretty obvious, he's saying, start wearing purple, all your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. So, he's talking about going crazy and wearing purple. And he's saying, it says here, Diogenes to Foucault, which I've probably pronounced horribly, from Lozhenkin to Passepartout. So Diogenes was a Greek philosopher who was known for cynical thought, and Foucault was a contemporary philosopher who critiqued modern thought, and he was often criticised even for not offering positive solutions to society's problems. No idea who Le Genkin is. And passe-partout is a French word for a passkey. But as a name, it was a famous character in Jules Verne's Around the World in 80 Days. And then it says this thing in Russian. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I mean, it has been transliterated here. So it's, I could try saying it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to give it a try because I'll just sound like an idiot. It translates as, I swear it is self-evident that music originated from the sounds of Mu. And the sounds of Mu, or Zvuki Mu, are very influential on a long-time underground Soviet band formed in 1983. So there you go. They're saying all music originated from that one band, it seems. Anyway, it goes back into the chorus then. Start wearing purple, wearing purple. Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. I promise, it's just a matter of time. So yeah, That sounded horrible. And he goes, start wearing purple, start wearing purple for me now. So why don't you start wearing purple? Why don't you start wearing purple? Start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. I promise, it's just a matter of time. And then there comes another verse, completely in Russian this time. Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. And it translates to, so violet, this one. This violet little lady of mine. Hey, somebody fetch us a horse carriage and we'll ride to knows where. So yeah, start wearing purple, start wearing purple for me now. All your sanity and wits, they will all vanish. I promise, it's just a matter of time. And that's it. So, it's quite a silly little song, and quite clearly about going crazy, about going mad. And it's quite a fun little song, it's got quite a fun little bop going on to it. So, it's good to have a laugh every now and then. And I haven't done a silly video on here in quite a while. So yeah, that was quite a fun little one to do. But yeah, I'd be curious to find out what other music of theirs sounds like, because they say it's all a lot of it is inspired by Russian sort of gypsy inspired music. So I'd be curious. So yeah, I'd be curious to find out what the rest of their music sounds like. God, my eyes are running like crazy. It must be bloody hay fever or something. But yeah, I'd be curious to find out what some of their other music is like. Just out of morbid curiosity. But yeah, I quite like that. It was a good bit of fun. But I don't know what else to say on that, so I'll leave that as it is. Now, if anybody would like to suggest a track for me to react to, then please do so by all means. You can drop a comment in the comment section below, or message me on my Facebook or my Instagram, or you can even message me through my Patreon, where you could also help to support this channel, which would of course be a massive help to me. Because every single piece of content I upload to this channel gets immediately demonetized, which is a little bit frustrating. But the bands that I cover, they deserve the recognition for me using their material, which is fair enough, but the fact that they get everything from all my videos is a little bit annoying, because, I put a lot of effort into these. But, it is what it is. So if you'd like to help support the channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. There is an option in Patreon where you can get your suggestion jumped to the front of the queue if you should so desire it. There is a limit on how frequently you can use that. It's limited to once a month, and that's just to be fair to people who suggest tracks through YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram comments. Give them a chance at getting their tracks looked at. If you do suggest a track through those more regular means, it could take me a while to get around to your suggestions, since I do get suggested so many new tracks every single day that my list of tracks grows faster than I can record the videos. But I do write down every suggestion I get, so it should get done eventually. It just might take me a while to get around to it. Also, Metalhead Reacts is a proud supporter of the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, a British-based charity whose goal is to put an end to hate crimes, and one of the major facets of that is hate crimes against people of the alternative culture. And that's something I believe in very, very strongly, and it's something that gets very, very widely ignored. And, you know, we're talking about violent attacks on people from the alternative culture, and you know, we're not talking about just like getting insults shouted at or getting shoulder rammed as you walk down the street. We're talking about brutal, violent crimes where people are getting hospitalized, sometimes with broken limbs, and sometimes with more life-threatening injuries, just over something as simple as their taste in music. And you know, this sort of thing has been going on for decades. You know, it's nothing new. But still, to this day, nothing gets done about it. Nothing is put in place to stop this sort of thing from happening. You know, every day, people from the alternative culture are getting violently abusive, aggressive behaviour thrown at them just because of their taste in music. You know, and every day we hear about all these other hate crimes like sexism, racism, homophobia, transphobia, religious hatred, ableism, etc. We hear about these on a daily basis. You know, we hear every facet of these, from the most violent and heinous crimes where someone is brutally murdered because of the colour of their skin, because of their sexual identity, because of their religious beliefs, down to the most petty and pathetic of these crimes, where some entitled white woman is calling the police because a family of colour are having a picnic in a public space. We hear these every single day. Every facet of these crimes, on every media platform you can imagine. Excuse me. You know, we hear them all the time. But we never hear anything about people from the alternative community. Ever. The last time there was widespread talk of this was 14 years ago, when Sophie Lancaster and her boyfriend Rob Maltby were violently and brutally attacked by a group of 5 or 6 people, and beaten, kicked, punched, knocked to the ground, and had their heads stamped on so violently that they both ended up in comas. Now, Rob Maltby, he did thankfully survive the attack. He was in a coma for about a week and a half, maybe a little bit longer, but he did thankfully survive. Sophie Lancaster, on the other hand, was in a coma for 13 days before she succumbed to her injuries and she died. This young woman was 20 years old and was beaten to death just because a group of people didn't like the fact that she listened to different music and wore slightly different clothing to them. Now, when this happened, this was all over the news, as rightfully it should have been. But, you know, over time, other news stories came in and this one sort of faded into the background, as all things do. But in the 13 to 14 years since that happened, we've not heard a single thing similar. But I know for a fact there have been several hundred, if not several thousand, similar cases in that time. Just a couple of years ago, there was a young woman in Scotland. You know, that's not far away from me. I could walk to Scotland from where I live. There was a young woman in Scotland, again about 20, 21-ish, who was running a charity gig one night. And at one point during the evening, for whatever reason, she had to go back to her home, which was a 5-minute walk away from the venue. In the time between leaving the venue and getting to her home, she was attacked and assaulted twice by the same group of people. Again, a group of people, 5 or 6 people, who beat her, kicked her, punched her, knocked her to the ground, and continued to beat her. And this happened twice in the space of 5 minutes. Now, thankfully, a passing taxi driver put an end to the assault. But he didn't stop to see if she was okay. He buggered off. She didn't get help until she got back to the venue where her friends were. This wasn't in the news. You know, this was a violent and brutal assault on a young woman. And nothing was said. This wasn't in the news. This wasn't on the newspapers. This wasn't all over the internet. Nothing. Now, if this had been an attack on someone from the LGBT community, something would have been said. If this was a religiously motivated or racially motivated attack, something would have been said. This would have been all over the news. But no, this was an assault on someone because they listened to alternative music and nothing was said. Not a single thing. I only heard about this because a friend told me about it. And the only reason my friend knew about it was because he was friends with the person that was attacked. That's unacceptable. And you can guarantee, if the assault had ended up in a fatality, if this young woman had died, just as Sophie Lancaster did, then it would have been all over the news, and that's unacceptable. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to lose their life before this gets spoken about. We shouldn't have to wait for someone to die before something gets done. And this is what the Sophie Lancaster Foundation is all about. They want to raise more awareness of the fact that this sort of thing's happening. They want more people to realise what a big problem this is, because it is a much bigger problem than people think it is. Physical, brutal assaults on people from the alternative community happen daily. They happen far more frequently than people think. And it needs to stop before we end up in a situation where someone else loses their life. We cannot allow that to happen. The Sophie Lancaster Foundation want to put a stop to this. They don't want to see another family go through what they went through when they had to watch their daughter slowly die over the course of 2 weeks. So if you'd like to find out more about the Sophie Lancaster Foundation, there's a link to their website in the description below. You can go over there, find out what they're working on at the moment, find out what their overall goal is, because they can explain it a lot better than I can. And if you can help them out in any small way, obviously don't feel obligated to do so, but if you can help them out in any small way, whether it's a small donation through their website or something as simple as one of these Sophie wristbands you can get from their web store, along with, that one. They've got a whole bunch of other really cool stuff over there as well. If you can help them out in any small way, the smallest amount can make the biggest difference. And the sooner we bring more attention to this, the sooner we've got more people talking about this, the sooner we can help to stamp out prejudice, hatred, and intolerance everywhere. But I'm going to leave that as it is for the time being. Thank you all very, very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.